The movie based on the best-selling novel It Ends With Us is finally out in theaters, and honestly it's been generating quite a lot of buzz. The book was published back in 2016 and by 2019 had sold over 1 million copies. But it really blew up in 2021 through TikTok through attention from the book talk community on TikTok. And as of now, It Ends With Us has over 1.2 billion tags on TikTok. And just this year alone, it sold more than 8.6 million copies. So before we jump into the review, let's see how this project started and what are the controversies around it. So Justin Baldoni, the director and lead actor in the movie, acquired the rights to the book back in 2019, after which Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds came on board as producers and production was underway. However, during the course of filming, Baldoni and Lively didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. Starting off with the costumes, where initially Baldoni had underdressed the character. A lot of fans saw pictures from the sets and began to freak out too, after which Lively got a new stylist on board and changed the entire look and feel of the costumes. Later, Baldoni really wanted to bring out the topic of domestic abuse in the story, but Blake Lively wanted to portray it more as a romantic movie you could watch with your partner with the element of domestic abuse in it. And eventually the movie we see is more in sync with Blake Lively's version. So long story short, Lively and Baldoni didn't get along at all during filming, and this also made the set atmosphere very awkward and weird, with Baldoni eventually even telling the media that he thinks Blake Lively should direct the sequel, indicating that they had really killed his creative freedom during the making of the movie. So well, having said all that, let's see how the movie actually stacks up. The story, obviously for starters, is very good and powerful, and I feel the writers do a decent job of adapting the screenplay around it. Next, I thought the movie was well directed. The sexual tension, the humor, the emotions come across very clearly, and the use of editing, camera movements, sound, background music, all of it really adds to driving a certain point home. I also feel the movie in general was very well edited, especially in the sequences where she faces abuse in the present and is transported back to her past. The intercuts are very effectively done and do a very good job of showing her state of mind and making the audience also feel her pain and dilemma. Now, in terms of acting, I feel Blake Lively has done a very good job. She portrays the character extremely well through all the points in her emotional journey and seems very convincing. Justin Baldoni is also very convincing in his role. He looks and acts sexy, is smooth, suave, making a lot of the scenes of him hitting on her very believable. But even in the more heavy scenes, he has a good control of his emotions and does well. Brandon Sklenar plays the role of Atlas in the movie, someone who dated Blake Lively in high school and now years later comes into her life again and supports her through what she's going through. He, I felt, wasn't up to the mark. His performances felt relatively flat, and I really felt that he had a lot of scenes where he could have really emoted well and his character had a wide emotional range, but unfortunately Brandon doesn't fully tap into that. Jenny Slate plays Baldoni's sister in the movie, and for the first half is in a very Jenny Slate-like role. But there's a scene between her and Lively in the second half where she asks her to leave her brother, and that is an incredibly powerful scene and she does a brilliant job over there. Her husband is played by Hasan Minhaj, who honestly is completely wasted in this movie. They don't use his comic timing one bit, and honestly any Indian guy or any guy for that matter could have portrayed that character and it would have made no difference. While most dialogues are good, I felt a lot of the dialogues were just too mushy or cheesy and felt awkward on adults in their late 30s or early 40s. It seemed like these were things high schoolers would say to one another, and not sure if these were put into the movie more so to appeal to the target audience. The movie also gets a little slow in the first half, and at times you feel the story isn't really moving forward, but the second half definitely picks up pace. Now, I haven't read the book, but the feeling I get is that the book would have been an emotional roller coaster and would have had a deep emotional journey, which unfortunately is not the case over here. You don't feel overwhelmed or heavy with the emotions, barring a few scenes, and even when the movie ends, it doesn't leave you in a heavy contemplative state. On the whole, if I were to judge this movie purely from a cinematic perspective, I would say it's a good watch and is an honest attempt at trying to tell the story it wants to tell. So on the B&B meter, I'm going ahead and giving it 7 on 10. Thanks for watching, and hey, I hope it doesn't end with us over here. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. Cheers, and I'll see you soon.